What time is it? It's crunch time!
Zach Peay, Jamar Perkins. It's crunch time. It's crunch time here live in the studios of Austin Peay. Zach Peay, joined as always by Jamar Perkins and Reese Britt. Reese, welcome back. We're back from spring break. Man, is it good to be back for crunch time, guys. How was your break?
Yeah, it was good. I actually got to go home. The team was in Florida. The golf team was in Florida, and I got to go home and just kind of relax. Not a lot of student athletes get to do that when they're in season, so I felt lucky enough to get back, see the folks before we kind of end the season coming in the last of the semester. So felt good.
All right, Jamar, how was your break, man? I know you took a trip, right?
Yeah, I went to Evansville. That was fun. And then for the OVC tournament. And then after that, I went to New York for a couple of days. That was an amazing experience. So I had a lot of fun doing that. A little bit of resting, a little bit of working as well. But it was good. You, Zach?
Yeah, man, obviously I had the trip to OVC with you as well to Evansville, Indiana. That was a fun time to go for. Then I ended up going and seeing my 96-year-old grandmother in Arkansas and took a fifth-generational photo. That was a kind of a crazy experience, a little bit of a crazy story, but I'll tell you guys, obviously, off air about some of the crazy stuff that happened there. But I want to jump into some APSU sports news. Let's recap the OVC tournament. Obviously, did not end the way that we wanted it to. No. The 6-seeded men's team lost a tough fight against a Tennessee Tech Golden Eagles team where they had a player named Goldman, a last name named Goldman, sank 15 points on the game. All 3-point games. So they just couldn't handle the 3-ball. They lose that game 78-51. Yeah. It was a tough-fought game, unfortunately. And then the Lady Govs, they were 4th-seeded. They won their first game against the 8th-seeded Tennessee State, who we saw do an upset against DIU. But Shy Booker led the team in that game with a double-double. They fought hard in the next round, but they fell to number 1 seed Belmont Bruins 63-51. They end their time in the OVC tournament 0-4 against the Belmont Bruins, which is not a great stat to end the OVC with, but they did move on to another tournament, right?
Yeah,
you got some stuff about that.
In the WBI, known as the Women's Basketball Invitational. They'll be playing that this weekend, and it's 3 guaranteed games. They have a loser's bracket, so every team's going to play at least 3. Hopefully, Austin Peay could be on the women's side, or the winning side of the bracket. But
that's what we'd like to see.
In the teams, we got Bowling Green, Furman, St. Mary's, Davidson, Nevada, Cleveland State, and Northeastern, and, of course, Austin Peay. So some decent competition. I think Austin Peay has a good chance of winning this if they play their best basketball. I think they can win this whole thing.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, we both came into the OVC tournament thinking that the women's team would win the OVC.
Yeah.
And so knowing that how they've got the history with Belmont and all that, it changed, obviously. And when we were there at the game, it obviously changed as well. A bunch of stuff that didn't go our way that we thought would go our way. A couple things that did go our way that were a little questionable as well at times. It was just a tough game to watch, and we both were there calling it, so we know that. Baseball, I want to talk about baseball for Austin Peay. Right now, the standings for them are 7-11. They are at 500 right now at home, which is a great stat to be. You always want to be better at home than you are away. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, you've not won an away game yet. You actually lost your exhibition yesterday against the MTSU Blue Raiders, 7-6. They played today against the Evansville Aces at home, so hopefully they'll get a win for that game. But some baseball news going on for there. It's a wonderful time to be a Governor if you are a baseball fan, because the season is in full swing for them as well after they beat Boston College, which they haven't beaten a top school like that since, I believe, 2012 is what I saw. So
yeah, it's been a while, Zach. And the Govs this season, they were preseason picked 1 in the OVC, so they came into the season with high expectations. And right now, yes, you haven't won a game on the road, but you're living up to some expectations that were put on you at the beginning of the season. I see down here the Govs offense is 19th in the nation in walks. Yep. A lot of that has come from that Boston College series where they won 2 games back to back on both walk off, and they scored the last run. So Boston College didn't have a lot of pitching coming in the bullpen, but that plays in favor of the Govs, and we see they're off to a really good start.
Oh, obviously. Yep. And I want to mention, too, Southeast Missouri is the only team in the OVC that ranks higher than Austin Peay. Austin Peay is second in the OVC right now in walk percentage, which is a great thing if you are a baseball fan, because you understand that walks get you on base. They're free base type stuff, so that's a good thing for you. But, Reese, you got some stuff about golf for me.
Yeah, the golf team, they started off, they were in Florida this past week for spring break, and they had another tournament a couple weeks ago. Right now, not playing our best golf. We've struggled off the tee, especially. Putting it between the tree lines, putting it in the short grass, as a lot of people like to say. We've got a tournament first weekend in April. That's our next one down in Tunica, Mississippi. It's a match play. So historically, the Govs are really good in match play tournaments. Coming in second last year, I believe, down there in Florida. They had a match play down there. They lost to Belmont. So hopefully this upcoming tournament we can get Belmont back for that and bring one home. So it's going good right now.
That would always be great to beat the Belmont Bruins, as everyone's leaving the OVC at the end of the year and transitioning over to the ASUN, obviously. So that's a good thing to hear. Tunica, Mississippi, not a bad place to play golf at.
That's right.
Careful of the rain, though. It's a flooding place, man, and they will flood really quickly.
Yeah, I want to say, too, shout out to Vanderbilt for beating Belmont men's basketball.
Oh, heck yeah.
Belmont beat us last time. I know you're a Vandy fan.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
It was nice to see Belmont take an L. Murray State, we'll talk about them a little bit later.
Oh, we're going to talk about them soon.
It might be a minute before they take an L.
Yeah. So actually, that's a great transition, man. I want to talk about the college basketball bracket a little bit. Just a bit. One thing that we know, obviously, March Madness has started. Some of the play-in games are going on right now. I believe, what was it? Texas Southern, or was it Texas A&M that won that game?
Texas Southern won the play-in game.
Texas Southern won their play-in game.
And then Indiana beat Wyoming last night. It was a nail-biter towards the end, but Indiana got it done.
Yeah, I mean, Indiana's got a good team. It's kind of weird that they're playing Wyoming in a set-in game, you know. But I want to talk about the biggest thing is for me, the Vol snub. The Tennessee Volunteers win the SEC championship. They should get a very good seeding out of that. They don't get a better seeding than Auburn and Kentucky. And they technically don't get a better seeding than Duke. Duke doesn't really play into that, but Duke did struggle throughout the year, ranked ninth in the nation for most of the season until like the last few weeks where they got into the top five. So my thing about this is, does the regular season really mean anything at this point? Or, I mean, is it more important than you're finishing your championship, or is the championships just irrelevant? Because, I mean, it helps you with seeding, but that's about it at this point. I really do think the Vols should have been a higher seed for this, if not a 1 seed for winning the SEC tournament.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
Listen, I could talk about the Vols getting snubbed all day. I mean, I could talk about this for, from sun up to sundown, but obviously we don't have time for that. All I'll say in this situation is Kentucky, 2 seed. I believe they were the second 2 seed put in. No, they were the third 2 seed. They were third on the 2 line. Tennessee beat them twice, once on a neutral floor. You had Auburn was the last 2 seed in there. They beat Auburn.
Yep, they did.
And if you want to go, if you want to go strength of schedule on against Duke, Tennessee's strength schedule is 5th in the nation. Duke's was 26th.
Oh yeah,
and it's one of those things that yes, they're in the tournament. We all know they won the SEC championship. That's great. They haven't done it since '79. They made it into the big dance. Everybody has a chance. But ultimately, it's sad to see that the regular season, that they say it matters. And if Texas A&M would have beaten Tennessee in the championship game, that's when the championship game would have mattered.
Right.
Like it's
A&M would have been ranked into a higher bracket.
Probably
would have probably
seed.
leaned into the NCAA bracket.
Yeah.
That might have given a chance for Tennessee to possibly not make it into the tournament. Yeah. A small chance, not a big chance, but a small chance for them not to make it.
Talking about it too. Want to transition the camera to me. Really, this right here is what it's about as far as money, as far as teams with good pedigrees really getting a higher advantage. Another thing I want to talk about too, as far as tournament seeding. Bryant, that was a team that they won their conference championship, but they're still playing in a playing game tonight. So that's something that's like, how important is this tournament? You get the tournament, you put the sticker, automatic bid. You really didn't get the bid because you're playing in the playing game. So that's something interesting, too, to look at.
And we had talked about this, too, a little bit with OVC tournament time. We knew that for the men's bracket, Murray was in. We knew Murray was going to make it to the NCAA tournament. They didn't have to win OVC to do that, but we knew if they did that they would get a better seeding, right? Obviously, they do win. They end up beating Moorhead and all that, but it begs the question: is tournament play really important at this time? Yeah. Are we really going to put? Are we not putting as much emphasis on it as it should?
We talked about it too. Bellarmine, that's a team that's a new Division I team, and they won their tournament, but they can't play because they haven't been in 4 years. I think that's a ridiculous rule, and that's crazy. Just the fact that you can't make it, Zach.
Yeah, and they have criteria set out, right? But depending on they pick and choose the criteria. For example, you've got Bellarmine, but like another example would be like Tennessee in this situation. Tennessee won the SEC; they're a 3 seed. If Texas, so it doesn't matter, right? The SEC championship doesn't matter. But if Texas A&M would have won that game, they would have been in the big dance. So it's like you say something for one team and then you do the opposite for the. It's just, I don't know. It's weird.
So a small transition here. I want to mention on air that obviously us three have brackets in front of us for those that can see it. And the crew, our crew here for Crunch Time is also jumping in on the bracket train as well. We're all going to do our own bracketology thing and see what happens. Obviously, my bracket's the safest amongst all of us because I go off way too much statistics. My other brackets that you can't see officially here are a lot more adventurous, but I got Duke winning the whole thing. I just want to transition over to who's cutting nets. I think Duke's cutting nets. It's Coach K's last season. It's kind of set up that way. They've got a low seeding. Their toughest opponent they've got to face really in their section is probably Gonzaga, if Gonzaga makes it past UConn or Arkansas or somebody like that. So they have the easiest walk.
Reese,
I mean,
do you want to address his nonsense?
Yeah, I'll let you go first because
Okay,
I got
so-
something cooking up over
So
here.
we've seen Duke all year be
Yeah,
an
yeah, yeah.
inconsistent team.
Yeah.
We saw them; they weren't in the top 3 a lot as far as their AP polls. And Duke, it's not their year. And I know you talked about, it's Coach K's
Yeah,
last.
yeah.
What about Coach K's last game against North Carolina? How'd that go?
Yeah,
So
no,
I mean,
yeah,
this last doesn't
ACC
matter at all.
championship game.
I mean,
ACC championship game.
Yeah,
Lost to
yeah,
Virginia Tech.
yeah.
Like this is just. It's not the team. I don't think. I would like to see them because I like Duke, but I would like to see them do good. But I don't see it happening.
So who's your guy then? Who's the team that you think out of all these teams in the bracket that's gonna go? Who's cutting nets?
I'm gonna do some more thinking. I
Okay.
know that's it. But
Okay.
I want to look
Okay.
at
Well, what about you,
Reese?
Reese? You got somebody that you think is gonna go?
First of all, I want to address your nonsense. And
That's
Duke.
fine. You can't do that. That's
Duke
cool.
will not make. They'll get past Cal State Fullerton, but they will not make it out of the first weekend. They lose.
You think you don't think they make it past Michigan State if Michigan State beats Davidson? 'Cause I think Michigan State's beating Davidson.
It's going to be Davidson. Davidson's got a ball club and a half. They're very experienced. They love to run up and down the court. They're not as big as Duke, but they will run Duke to death, and they will play quick basketball. And they'll
All right.
hustle. They'll just out hustle you really. And so Duke doesn't make it out of the first weekend. I got Davidson moving on.
Okay.
Game. And then overall, I mean, guys, let's be honest here. I got the Vols. The Vols are going to take it to them. The only team I'm really worried about from their draw is Arizona. Tennessee already beat Arizona earlier in the year. It's tough to beat the same team in the same year twice, but I think Tennessee gets it done. They've got too much athleticism, really.
The only other team in Tennessee's section with the South is got to be Villanova. I mean,
Yes.
Villanova for
Yeah.
me, you did beat them as well at a 15-point differential there in that game, I believe. But Villanova is the same standpoint. Can you beat a team twice?
I like Houston too.
So-
I want to talk Houston.
Yeah,
Will
Houston's
be
got
a
a
team
good
that might
team.
be a sleeper team too because they did pretty good in the regular season as well.
The only issue with Houston is beating Illinois first. Illinois got a good team.
Very good.
They're poised. They've been here before. They understand what they've got to do in the tournament. So that's interesting. For the Midwest bracket, I do have have Auburn coming out of that one. With Kentucky coming out of the East as well. So that's my Final Four. My Final Four is Duke, Arizona, Kentucky, and Auburn. But
Gotcha.
I'm crazy for Duke being there. So
You got a little soft side for Coach K over there.
man,
so.
it's his last time, and I like the history behind it. So I can't help it.
There's also something Murray State. If we bring the Murray State
Yeah.
possibly
Heck
playing
yeah.
Kentucky. Y'all had some thoughts about that. I'd like to hear y'all's thoughts.
So I think Murray State playing Kentucky. I don't think they're going to beat Kentucky at all, but I do think Murray is going to beat San Francisco. Murray's coming in. They're a low-ranked national team. They're known, but they're not well known. And I mean, San Francisco, you could say is the same standpoint, but I just don't foresee that. I don't see San Fran beating Murray.
Be real though, because you said
Yeah.
Murray State had a 0 chance.
Beating Kentucky. No, yeah, there's no way you're beating Kentucky.
Sugarcoating it a little
Oh no,
bit.
I'm not gonna
0
sugarcoat
chance.
it. I'm not gonna sugarcoat
So
it.
you're
No,
saying
Kentucky
live on
is
air.
Kentucky is going to beat Murray State if Murray State makes it past.
Smack them too, or is it gonna be a close game?
10-point game.
Okay.
Not like a smack, but a good little push.
Reese,
We talked about this. Zach,
We did.
off air.
We did.
Kentucky. I've watched Kentucky probably more than any other team
Yeah.
other than Tennessee and Austin Peay this season. Kentucky can either play like the best team in the nation by a large margin, or they could play like they've never seen a basketball on a basketball court before. And I think if Murray State comes out there and they think of themselves on the same level, which they are. I mean,
They are.
They might not have the athleticism that Kentucky has, but Murray State is just as good as Kentucky. They can go out there and they can win. And I've got them beating Kentucky. Kentucky doesn't make it out of the first weekend.
Okay. So I want to move into to NBA basketball because we got a lot more to cover on the show. We could spend all show on college basketball. We probably will spend one of our next shows coming up on the college basketball bracket and everything like that because we'll be getting into those more and more. But I want to talk about NBA real quick. Standings wise, Eastern, you've got the Heat, the Bucks, the Sixers, the Bulls in 4th, the Celtics in 5th, Cavs in 6th, Raptors in 7th, Nets are 8th, Hawks are 9th, and Hornets are 10th in the East. In the West, you've got the Suns as number 1 right now. Grizzlies moved up to number 2. Hoop hoop. Golden State in number 3, Jazz number 4, Mavericks number 5, Denver 6th, Minnesota 7th, Clippers are going to be 8th. The Lakers are 9th, and I want to talk about them. And then the Pelicans are just behind them. The Lakers showing a little bit of trouble. Since the All-Star break, they have only won 2 of their last 10 games.
Yeah.
Yeah, in 2 of those games, LeBron scored over 50 points. So.
Yeah. And you got to thank. I want to thank Wicks for that lovely stat that happened. Thank you, Wicks, for that one. But they're a little bit of trouble. They're not playing together. I don't think Anthony Davis coming back is going to help them. I really don't. At this point, it's all hands on deck. You've got to figure out what's wrong with Russell Westbrook because Westbrook's not playing like he should. It's a bad time. What do you guys think?
What'd you say, Jamar? He was shooting 6%. Russell Westbrook shooting 6%.
It was at least a couple days ago. So assuming I haven't checked it since, I'm hoping done a little bit better. But it was after the All-Star break. It was a statistic that he had shooting 6% from the three-point land. Which, I mean, we know he struggled from three-point land his whole career, really. But that's 6%.
6%'s never been his. You know what I mean? Like that's never been a Westbrook thing. It's insane. I want to congratulate Popovich.
Yeah.
Greg Popovich, all-time winningest coach with 1,336 wins, surpassing the great Don Nelson, who thanked him on Twitter, by the way.
Nice.
Don, like in his 70s, thanking Popovich on
nice
Twitter.
too, because right after he did that, Karl Anthony Towns scored 60 on the Spurs.
Yeah.
And Karl Anthony Towns even like, it feels good. I just scored 60 points on the NBA all-times winningest coach. And you know someone else who scored 60, which I want to talk about this. Kyrie Irving scored 60 points against the Orlando Magic. Obviously, it was an away game because currently right now Kyrie still can't play, but he can sit on the sidelines maskless in the Nets home games.
So you can't,
I saw that.
Hold up. Let me get this straight.
Yeah, it doesn't
you
make
can't
sense.
play on the court.
No.
But you can play away games.
Yes.
But you can sit maskless on the sideline,
Yes.
but you can't play in your home court.
You cannot play in your home. But you know what he did too? He went into the locker room, and they were like, okay. Then people were like, really? And then the NBA fined the Brooklyn Nets $50,000 for Kyrie coming into the locker room. And it's just like, I don't know. But I think coming soon, I hope NBA's working with New York. New York's working with I really hope it soon we can see Kyrie playing at
with the
Nets home
NFL
games.
cutting COVID protocols at the end of the season and didn't really have them in playoffs. You would think the NBA would start kind of veering away from the protocol. I mean, granted, they're the one sport out of all the national sports that really didn't have much of a problem with COVID. Mm-hmm. But you would figure, you'd presume that it would transition to another way. But unfortunately, it's not. So I am curious to see if Irving will return to home court before the playoffs.
Looking at the Nets at the A seed too, they're really. I mean, they're going to be playing games more than likely. Trying to get the best seeding they can. It's a struggle because you only get Kyrie for maybe one more game out of this away games because they have a long road stretch.
They have a long road stretch
at the
coming
end of
up
this season. So it's like, I don't know. Even in the playing game, though, I think Kevin Durant delivers.
You better find a way to bring him in. That's all I'm saying. Because, KD can get it done, but you need Uncle Drew on that court.
Mm-hmm. Looking at it, too, the playing game, it'll be 7 versus 8. It'll be a home game for the 7th seed. So, really, you might want to stay at that 8th seed.
Yeah.
Right. Because, then Kyrie can play.
Yeah. A little strategy behind it. I like that.
I want to transition over to MLB news. Major League Baseball and Major League Baseball Players Association have agreed to finally start the season. The lockout lasted longer than Tom Brady's retirement. 46 days to Brady's 40 days, but we'll get into Brady's unretiring in just a moment. I just want to real quick touch base. Opening day is April 7th with 162 games scheduled. They're going to only skip one series that was going to happen to start. Here's what we should expect. There's no more 7-inning doubleheaders. There is no ghost man on second anymore for the extra innings. That's amazing. Expanded playoffs, which means 12 teams instead of 10 teams now. A bye for the first 2 place teams. That's never really been happening anyway, so that's a good thing for them. Instead of a wild card team, the third place team will play in a 3-game series. So the wild card team and the third place team will play in a 3-game series instead of having that one-on-one wild card game to get in. So that's a good thing. One thing to happen this year, there's no tiebreaker game anymore, and there is a universal DH for both leagues. Coming up in 2023, they'll have larger bases, a 14-second pitch clock, a ban on defensive shifts, which is awesome, a bunch of salary changes, new minimums for the minor league, new salary caps for the playoffs, new bonuses for popular awards, and even an international draft and a lottery draft coming to Major League Baseball, which probably means no more Rule 5 draft. A lot to unpack here for anybody that's baseball fans. It's great. It's great news. It's great for the fans. It's great for the organizations. Finally, they're going to get started. The agreement is still 2026. However, they can amend the agreement every year. That's the problem.
Yep.
The committee they've chosen to amend includes only one player, from each side technically. So a pitcher and a catcher. I think they don't get a base player. They don't get an infielder technically. They don't get an outfielder technically. They get coaches. But it's only like a 5-person committee to approve this, and that to me is not enough to really do. And that's what I'm reading based off of all the stuff I've been seeing. That's ESPN, that's CBS Sports, stuff like that as well. So it's a little different, but an interesting time for Major League Baseball. What do you guys think? Any thoughts on this right here?
I think the biggest, or what stands out to me the most, is the universal DH for both leagues, because we all know the NL, they make their pitchers hit in the lineup at that 9 spot usually, unless unless you got a Madison Bumgarner.
I mean, if you got Ohtani playing in the Angels, man. Exactly. I mean, golly.
But that right there gives them such a great advantage, because you can have you can have him in the lineup that I mean, he's one of the best hitters in the league right now. But I like this universal DH just because even if you're a pitcher, you start in high school being a PO, really, unless you can just hit the cover off the baseball. And you don't hit in college, and all of a sudden when you get to the big leagues, they want you to hit. And you're seeing 98 coming down the middle. I mean, that's a big change. You go.
It is when you're not used to seeing anything past 85.
Exactly.
That's usually when you stop hitting as a pitcher. So.
I mean, looking at it, it's just nice to see baseball back.
Right,
like we said, Brady's retirement was quicker than this, but
40 days to baseball's 46.
It's just nice to see it. Like I talked about it beforehand, that seeing COVID take out baseball, now to seeing this take it out. But it is nice to see that the full game season will remain. So they did it quick enough for that to still happen. So I am glad that we're going to see that.
I'm happy for no extra man on base when it gets to extra innings. I'm happy for no more 7-inning doubleheaders, because they were still going to 9 anyways half the time. So there was just no sense to keep doing that. But moving on, hey guys, you guys smell that?
What is that?
It's the NFL free agency started. It started today. It's a new season in the NFL. It's a great day to be an NFL fan. And the reason I say that is because Tom Brady unretired. 40 days.
That's my GOAT sound right there. That's the GOAT. Thomas Brady is back. I knew he wasn't going anywhere. Great. But it's good to see him there for sure.
For sure.
It's good to see him back. Jimmy G, sorry you're not coming to the Bucks, because it's Brady time. It's Brady time.
It's Brady time.
It's not over.
He wants one more. He wants one more.
He said he has unfinished business.
He ain't getting one more.
You know what? I will say I will argue with that, because in the NFC there's not, as of right now, there's not many NFC quarterbacks besides Aaron Rodgers. So let's get into this. Before today started, we had a bunch of stuff announced. Brady unretired, coming back to the Bucks. Russell Wilson was traded to the Broncos. A great trade by the Broncos, and Seattle doesn't really get a lot from it, but so Denver got a lot out of that. Bobby Wagner released from Seattle. Aaron Rodgers staying in Green Bay. Captain Kirk staying in Minnesota. Carson Wentz traded to the Commanders. Congrats, Reese. Yeah. Amari Cooper traded to the Browns.
Happy birthday.
Jarvis Landry released by the Browns. J.C. Jackson signs with the Chargers. Khalil Mack traded to the Chargers, back in his old division after being traded away from the Raiders to the Bears. Mitchell Trubisky, the new starting quarterback, or possible new starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then Andrew Whitworth officially retired. Before we get into our awesome segment, I want to talk about this. Just out of all of these guys, just take one. Which one do you guys think to you is the best thing to hear about, besides Brady unretiring? Because obviously that's great to hear about.
I like the Chargers working on that defense. They're trying to make a push next year, and I like it.
They need to, with the fact that they now have Russell Wilson, Justin Herbert's their quarterback, obviously. Then you've got Patrick Mahomes and Derek Carr. They're going to have to make a push.
Yeah. I'll say one thing. Amari Cooper traded to the Browns. I think that's going to work. They just released Jarvis Landry. They don't have Odell anymore. Like, Amari Cooper, this is going to be the first team other than the Raiders. I don't really count his time in the Raiders. Really, it's been with the Cowboys. This is the first time that he's going to be the number 1 wide receiver with a above average quarterback, in my opinion. Either it be Deshawn Watson, maybe, or Baker Mayfield.
Well, see, so right now, and that brings us into our next segment. In my opinion,
wait,
before we go to the next segment, let's start there.
I'm sorry. Baker Mayfield's an above average quarterback?
I believe he is. Yeah, I believe he is.
As someone who's in that division, I'll have to correct you on that one. He is not an above average quarterback.
I don't know.
I think he's an average quarterback right now because they don't know how to utilize it.
A little bit above average.
I don't think they know how to utilize his style. But I want to talk about, real quick, I'm going to get the camera right here. Aaron Rodgers. How dare you sign back with Green Bay after forcing them to get you that 1-year contract? I get it. You got paid. Great job. I'm getting paid. Good job. But to make all this storm about you don't have the players, they're not treating you right, you're not going to win, you're not going to do this, you're not going to do that, and create all this drama just to go back? Come on, man. Like, come on. That's all I got to say. I could be meaner. I could be really rude about it, but I'm not going to. I lost a lot of respect for that quarterback.
Now that they signed him back, do they have enough money to even sign Devontae Adams?
No, they don't.
Yeah,
they released Zadarius Smith so they can try, but he won't play under a franchise tag.
Right.
He's admitted he will not play under a franchise tag. And so you signed him. Congratulations, you got him.
Yeah,
good job. How you gonna get? Who's he throwing to? Lazard.
So now where's Devontae Adams gonna go? I know the
Probably
Broncos
Denver.
were rumored to go with.
Would you
Brady.
imagine Russell Wilson with Devontae Adams? Oh my gosh.
I don't want to imagine.
I want to end this on a new segment called the Rumor Mill, and that's the segment I'll keep bringing back because we are hearing a lot of stuff within the NFL. I got a couple things I'm going to throw out there, and then we're just going to kind of talk about it and discuss a little bit. So Deshawn Watson, free and clear of all charges, or well, almost all charges. Yeah. He's got, I think, 5 cases left, but they've deemed that he's going to be fine. He will play this season, from what I'm hearing. He is able to talk about being traded. The rumor mill is either Indy tried. Indy's not going to get him, and they want him. Carolina, Atlanta, Cleveland, and New Orleans are the running teams right now for him. They all can afford him. They all can definitely trade for him. The return of Marcus Mariota. Mariota might come back to being a starting quarterback. Gardner Minshew may leave Philly to be a starting quarterback somewhere. I don't think that one's happening at all. Mayfield might be on the move if they give Watson, who's come in today to do their interviewing. He said goodbye to Cleveland last night on Twitter. Bobby Wagner, Zadarius Smith, possible to maybe Baltimore or to Denver or something like that. Where does the Honey Badger end up? You know,
some of Von Miller too.
Yeah, Vaughn as well. Juju Smith-Schuster to the Titans, I think, is another thing. And then that's really what I've got. I want to talk about this Deshaun Watson situation.
Okay.
I'd rather see him in a Carolina Panthers uniform, obviously, than a Cleveland Browns uniform, because I'm a Baltimore Ravens fan. And if Deshaun Watson has to face me twice a year, I might not be the Browns anymore, because I don't think Deshaun Watson was compared to be the Michael Jordan of football. So let's be real about this. You know, this guy's a good player. He's been out for 2 years, but he can play.
As far as the Panthers go, I've always liked Cam Newton. I feel kind of bad. You know, he's on the downhill, but I'd like to see him get one more chance. But I mean, I don't know if they don't really want to give him another chance with Deshaun Watson. So part of me likes Deshaun Watson to the Browns, especially to relieve an under-average quarterback in Baker Mayfield.
Right.
So I'd like to see that, but I don't know. I think Browns or Panthers. I think those are the top 2 for him right now.
The Saints are also a ghost run there, and the Falcons are too. The Falcons have trade bait with giving Matt Ryan to somebody, so the Texans want a quarterback or want trade value for him. They've admitted that they'd like to do a quarterback swap. So if they do it with Cleveland, then Houston gets Baker.
I just don't.
I don't think that's a great call.
Yeah. Like Davis Mills is. I mean, he's not.
Davis Mills ain't better than Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, but I mean, we're talking about Matt Ryan possibly going to the Texans. It's like, why would
that'd
you
be
do
great.
that? You're trying to rebuild, though. So why would you get a veteran quarterback to rebuild? Like, if anything, stick it out with Davis Mills a little bit. That's
Well, maybe to let the veteran teach the young guy.
That's
maybe.
true.
I mean, it's one of those situations that you can't turn away too much from the veteran.
Yeah.
But Matt Ryan's a stigma that's got to leave. He's a disease that's got to leave from Atlanta. Ever since that Super Bowl, they get a 21 point lead. They can't win a game.
They're not safe.
No, they need like 40 points, and even then, they don't win a game. Like, they were awful last year.
It's tough.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, they got Brady in their division, so.
That's true.
That's true. Yeah.
Reese, what do you think?
Well, I was just going to say, I just pulled up the NFL salary cap rankings right now. The Colts have $52 million that they can play with in cap space.
Okay.
So that was kind of weird with how I don't know. Maybe Deshaun Watson kind of shut them down.
That was Houston. So Houston doesn't want to trade Deshaun into the AFC South.
Gotcha. Okay.
That was their
Understood.
words.
Okay. Now, Jets at number 2, they've got 29 mil. Seahawks, number 3, 33 million.
I mean, that Seattle could be a ghost runner. Seattle has
Exactly.
Drew Lock now. And I mean, no offense to Drew Lock. Drew Lock does deserve a starting job somewhere because he didn't do bad in Denver. But maybe you go for Deshaun Watson if you're Seattle since you just lost Russell Wilson.
Yeah. But and then the Panthers come in at number 4, 26, which, there it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be an interesting time. We have a lot of time to cover this, obviously, because the free agency just started. The draft coming up in April. We will be here at Austin Peay to do this. Guys, it's great to be back. I can't wait to see you guys next week for the show. Sure. It's been great talking to you guys about this. I want to thank our crew. As always, thank you, Steve Sawyer, Wicks, Jay, everybody out there, Doc V as well. You guys have been listening to Crunch Time. We'll see you next week.